You are my perfect little sunrise. You are the apple of my eye. You are a wish I want to make the rest of my life. And you are a story I want to read, the kind of happy I want to be. Oh, you're everything, everything to me.
We actually had a class together, English class at UL. I think we were both freshmen, first starting, because it was kind of an entry-level course.
After class, Brett was going back to Mississippi because that's where he's from. He was going back to Mississippi for the break, the summer break, and I was staying in Lafayette.
I finally got her number through Facebook, I think.
And we started texting back and forth for a whole entire year.
Every now and then I would ask her if she wanted to go get lunch or whatever, and I would always get turned down. I was more friends with her friends than with her, so I kind of tried to keep up with, like, you know, if she was seeing anybody.
He was like, I have to get to know your friend, Lauren, bro. I just have to get to know her. And so they're like, you have no chance. Not a chance. No, 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 no. She's with somebody else right now, you know.
But there was that one time that she said yes to the football banquet, and I think I made a good impression on that one. So.
Wanna hold your hand forever. Oh, dance right here with me. You are my bright star shining. You're the song I gotta sing. You're my one and only. I think you're meant for me.
Okay, well, my roommates knew it right from the get-go. One of my groomsmen, or two of my groomsmen, were my roommates during this whole year that went by before we started dating. We would randomly see each other on campus, and every time that happened, you know, they'd be the first people to know. You know, I'd come home and say, "Hey, I saw Lauren on campus," and they were like, "Are you still like trying to get with this girl and she doesn't pay you any attention?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I saw her on campus, I talked to her." So they knew from the get-go that I was serious about her.
But I think it was close to when we were about to start dating. I think so, yeah. I think it was the night that I remember. Ellen was she's one of my bridesmaids, and she was with me that night. She's like, you like him a lot, and I want you to admit that to yourself. So I think it was that night when he told Christina that he was gonna marry me one day.
Whenever we first started dating, we went on a big beach trip to Destin for spring break, and we weren't with their group, but they had a bunch of girls, and me and a couple of my football buddies just kind of went randomly on the weekend.
It was all my friends were there, and like a good 3 or 4 of his friends came with us too, and they stayed at our condo. They were actually staying at his aunt's house for the weekend because she lives in Destin too, so it wasn't very far, but they would come hang out with us during the day. It was our first night at spring break, and I was about to go to bed for the night, and so I was like hugging him good night, and we were outside, and he was like, we were just talking, and then all of a sudden he was like, okay, good night, love you. And we just like both looked at each other, we're like, what?
And I kind of just paused, and I was like, oh boy. So I thought I'd mess things up from there, but it turns out it was not a big deal. So. And
I went to bed. I didn't say it back because we weren't officially dating. You know, I don't know. I mean, like, I knew I loved him at that moment, definitely, but I was not about to say it. So I went to bed, and then he went back inside, and it's a huge joke of the whole spring break, but he was like, y'all, I really messed up, I think. And they were like, what happened? What did you do? And he was like, I told her I loved her. And they were like, no, you didn't mess up. Like, that helped everything, you know? So it was just an ongoing joke of the whole spring break. And at the end of spring break is when we officially started. started dating, I guess you could say. Our first kiss was actually on a sorority date party.
So we were actually on the back seat of a bus, and we were on some one of her sorority date parties or something.
Brett got to meet all my friends, and then on the bus ride back, that was our first kiss.
And she definitely initiated it. So I don't know what she told you, but she definitely initiated it.
It was great. It was great. It was a perfect first kiss.
All my friends back home, I think whenever they met Lauren, they automatically fell in love with her.
My favorite physical attraction to Brett is definitely his smile. That is what drew me to him from the first day in class when I saw him. Absolutely.
I love Lauren's eyes. You know, she always, you know, she's got these eyes that whenever she smiles and, you know, whenever she's looking at you, that she really just, you know, captures you. She's always, you know, she's always paying attention to everything around her. And I think she puts off that by her eyes, you know. That's my favorite physical characteristic about her.
Personality-wise, the main thing that drew me to him was he was just so charming and fun to be around. Always positive. He's just so exciting. There's always something going on, and it's a positive thing about him.
Just the way she is around people, you know, the effect she has on people. She's a nurse, and I think that's, you know, a perfect job for her. She loves helping people. But whenever she's around people, you know, you're just in a better mood. I think it's just this, you know, this personality that she puts out that makes me a better man, and makes, you know, everybody around her better people, just by the way she, you know, she kind of has that effect on her. So.
The most romantic thing he did so far, of course, would be our engagement night, the night he proposed to me.
Actually, I knew, like, I was looking at some rings for a little while, and once, and I actually had a plan. The plan was I was going to propose. I had gotten into PT school, and so I was gonna wait till I went to Austin to look for an apartment, and I was gonna propose in Austin. But once I got the ring, I just couldn't wait. So I had to deviate from that plan and get a whole nother plan.
I had no idea. Was not expecting it at all.
Once I bought the ring, you know, maybe a month and a half, you know, it wasn't long at all, so I couldn't, it was burning a hole in my pocket. I couldn't hold on to it, so.
It was Halloween night, actually, and I had just finished working 9 12-hour shifts in a row at the hospital, 9. So I was completely exhausted. My family, well, my mom and my sister kept making Halloween a big deal that year. We never really celebrate Halloween. We kind of just hand out candy and go along with the rest of the day, you know.
And we set up a little thing at our sister's house, and we carved a pumpkin that said, "Will you marry me?" on it. So whenever she came to her sister's house for after work, you know, we set up like it was going to be a little Halloween party, which she was kind of thrown off because that never happens. They never celebrate Halloween like that.
So I walk outside, and the first thing I see is flowers, a huge table of flowers, like family everywhere, a big sign in the back that I couldn't read just yet. And then my sister is sitting at a table with a pumpkin in front of her, and she turns it around and says, "Look what your boyfriend carved you." And in the pumpkin it said, "Will you marry me?" And all of a sudden I was just so overwhelmed with like what was going on, and then I hear footsteps behind me, and it's Brett, and I turn around and he's already on one knee with the box open. "Will you marry me?" I don't know what else was said. And I'm just crying and crying. And of course I said yes, of course, I mean, yeah, absolutely yes. Actually, my first words were, "Stop it." I think my first words were, "Stop it." And then I just started crying, and of course I said yes eventually. And hands down the best day of my life so far.
You know, I didn't know, at the beginning, I didn't know what would come about. You know, you never do, but it was, you know, it was, for me now looking back, you know, I knew from when I first walked in the room that that was somebody that I could see myself with eventually. You know, it required some hard work, but you know, it was worth it.
I would never change Brett's personality. That is the reason why I'm marrying him. That is the reason why I am moving away from my family and going live with him. And I know he will support me and love me to the day I die.
You're like a wild, wild flower. You are my kiss upon the breeze. Wanna hold your hand forever. Oh, dance right here with me. You are my bright star shining. You're the song I gotta sing. You're my one and only. I think you're meant for me. My little darling, my honeybee. You're like nothing I've ever seen. You're everything.